why is this so hard to understand? I hear what you're saying, it's making a lot of sense. Why Hashem was sad, I made him happy. It's ridiculous.
So when you say it to people who have studied a little bit, instead of getting that reaction of like, oh, this is serious, you get a backlash. Where does it say? Who says? It says like this, it says like that. See, the Eibush that is not waiting. Let's get down to, stop with the quotes. What is the story? Is the Eibush waiting for you to do a mitzvah or not? And if you say no,
What do I need to do for?
I don't know who you are anymore. Like, you're observant, you're frum, you're chassidish, but you don't think the Eibush is waiting? Yeah, where does it say? What do you mean, where does it say? You need a Gzeidas HaKosov? If you take a look in the Rebbe's Maimorim and the Rebbe's Sichos, I don't know how you can overlook it. The whole emphasis of the Rebbe's addition to what came before is that everything goes back to the Eibishter himself. It's all rooted in his essence. In other words, let's get away from the Hebrew words that we really don't understand very well. Could he have not created the world? Oh yeah, he could do whatever he wants. Don't be childish. He created the world. Was that necessary? No. No. And that's it. It's all over. Listen to what you just said. The whole project is not necessary. Why would anybody have Mesiras Nefesh? The Eibush that chose the Yidden, it was a Bechira. He could have chosen anybody, right? Yeah, right. You think that's true of marriage? You happen to be married to your wife. You could have married somebody else, right? No. This is your wife. What do you mean you could have married somebody else? So your wife is not really your wife, not really your soulmate, not really your zivug, not the other half of your soul? So let me, the Eibush, that was it necessary to create the world for him? No? No. Was it necessary that he choose the Jews? How odd of God to choose the Jews? Yeah, it could have been somebody else. The mitzvahs are absolutely necessary? No. He chose. He made up a list of things. This is the Yiddishkeit, this is the Torah that we have been loyal to through thick and thin, giving up our lives for something he doesn't need. It's not essential, it doesn't have to happen, he doesn't... What did you just do? It says in Tzedakah. Okay, so find a Mefarish that explains it. But don't dismiss Yiddishkeit. Make a mockery of the whole thing. So how can anybody who has a little bit of that cheretz, a little bit of, you say this whole thing is not necessary? Just a whim?
So I spoke to somebody about this last night, and he answered. He said, "Listen," he says, I asked him the question: how could you say that Atzmus, that God Himself needs us when we know that Atzmus is Pashut? In other words, that Atzmus doesn't have any characteristics. So he said, you don't have to understand it. You don't have to understand. In fact, you cannot understand how it could be that Hashem wants or needs something, yet at the same time, He doesn't want or need anything. He absolutely needs your mitzvahs, but He absolutely doesn't need them at the same time. It's a contradiction. I don't understand it, and you shouldn't either, so stop asking. Maybe, in answer to what you're saying, well, it has to be this way, because logically I feel that if not for this, there's no relationship. Oh, who says that you have to understand it?
Well, at least he admitted that the Eibishter does need.
Yes.
Okay. So which part do you want to focus on? That he does need your mitzvah or that he doesn't need your mitzvah?
That you can't prove anything about
I'm not trying to
Atzmos.
prove. But if both are true,
Well, let me clarify. The reason he said that the Eivishter needs us is because the Rebbe said so.
good enough for me.
Right. So you have to say it because that's the idea of the Rebbe Tachtonim. You have to say that the Rebbe that the Eivishter needs us. But you're right. It makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't add up. But stop trying to understand it. It's not really a discussion we have to have.
I'm not trying to understand it. I want to know if it's a fact. If he really needs me, it makes all the difference in the world. I'm not going to ask him why, and he doesn't have to explain it to me. Just tell me that it's true. But to say, no, it can't be true. It can't be true? So the Torah can't be necessary? Can anybody really say that with a clear conscience? He said, well, I don't understand it. Fine. It's a contradiction. Now,
Is it?
No. But even if it is, fine, can't explain it. But he does need your mitzvahs. Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's terrible. Why is it not a contradiction? On the one hand, you say the Eibishter, whatever he wants. Nothing's impossible. Whatever he wants. On the other hand, what is there to want? Yeah, what? What is missing that he could possibly want? So whatever it is he wants, he already has. So yes, he can want whatever, but there's nothing to want that he doesn't already have. It's not a contradiction, because the simple meaning of the Eibishter is perfect. Nothing can affect him. Right? We all agree there is nothing about the chazer that makes it worse than the cow. Nothing. So it's not the pig turns him off. That's absolutely correct. Nothing turns him off, and nothing excites him. That's called pshitus. He's unaffected by anything outside of himself. We all agree on that. But there's something about him. He has a taiva. You know what taiva means? I want, not it wants me. So what does it mean that he is not affected? And everybody agrees with that. The Rambam makes it very clear the Eibishter can't be affected by the world. Ani violation nisi, nothing affects me. So if nothing affects me, that means I can't be me. On the contrary, if nothing affects me, then I'm just me. So if the Eibishter says, you know, Noach, I like Noach. Everybody else disappointed. Noach, Motzo chen be'inei Hashem. You can't believe that?
You yourself just said that there's no difference between the chazer and the cow. So, I don't know. Noach was... Tell me.
Okay. So, there's something about the Eibishter in his complete freedom and pshitus that makes everything possible. Because of him, not because of the thing. So, a guy goes to buy a car, and he chooses a car. B'chira chofshis. Well, not really. For some reason, this kind of a car appeals to him. This interior appeals to him. So it's choosing him. It's not pshitus. So if you want to say, a rotzen poshet, I want it because I want it and nobody influenced me. Humanly, that's hard to imagine. Nothing influenced you. You happen to like this color. You didn't choose that. That's the way you are. This car is a little too big for you. What do you mean too big? You know, It's not all you.
So would it be accurate to say that before Dira B'Tachtonim, Hashem was feeling empty, and now that Dira B'Tachtonim was accomplished, when Mashiach comes, he's feeling pretty satisfied, happy, Atzmus.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we're talking nonsense. He has a kavanah, he wants a dira b'tachtonim. Whether it happens or not makes no difference to him. So before or after, it's all the same. You're talking nonsense.
Why is this so hard to understand? I hear what you're saying, it's making a lot of sense. Why Hashem was sad, I made him happy. It's ridiculous. How could
Why?
you?
Why? Explain the question.
Because it means God is vulnerable. He can be injured. He can be hurt. I can push him over. I can push him to the side. I can leave him lacking.
Isn't that written in every pasuk in Torah? If you don't keep my mitzvahs, I'll be angry. No?
Yeah, it's not talking about him.
Yeah.
It's talking about his emanations. Is this? Is that?
Malach Gavriel.
Malach Gavriel.
So we're basically
the spheres.
so we're
Ava, Yira, Chesed, Gvura.
Yeah. So we're basically worshiping Malachim. This is terrible. That's a very important and beautiful concept here. What does the Eibishter need? He keeps saying, I don't need anything. And it's true, he doesn't need anything. He can't need anything, because he's not missing anything. So, before the world was created, Hayahu levade, what was wrong? Something disturbed a condition that was perfect. What could disturb a perfect condition? He created the world. Well, he didn't have to. That makes the question even bigger. That's not the answer. I said, yeah, he didn't have to. No, but he did. For no reason. A silly reason. Come on. If the Eibishter, who was so perfect, created a world, there is something awesomely important and necessary that we should be aware of, because we are the creation. So what was missing? Not what. Who? He didn't create the world for a thing. He created the world for someone. Bereshis b'shvil Yisrael. What does that mean? B'shvil Yisrael doesn't mean for our benefit. He created the world so that he could have Yisrael. Yisrael is not a what. It's a who. So basically what you're saying, and you can't get around this. There's no way around this. The Eibishter was Yochid and Miyuchad, there was nobody else. So he created somebody else.
But you obviously understand the gut reaction of revulsion to the idea. How could you say that Hashem was vulnerable, needed something that...
Wait. Didn't get there yet.
Okay.
What changed? He was Yochid, Einoid Milvade, and then he created someone. That's what happened. That's the fact, right? So what did he do by creating the world? He stopped being Yochid. Now there is someone. So obviously he didn't need something, but he wanted someone. Because that's what he did. He was the only existence. He created someone beside him. Gave us Bechira so that we would be beside him, not more of him. Not a clone. If a person is perfect, does that mean he doesn't need anybody? Or it means he doesn't need anything? So if I was perfect, and I wanted you as a friend, for what? For nothing. I'm perfect. So what do you need me for? I don't need you for anything. I just want you to be my friend. And what are you going to get from that? A friend. What is that good for? Friend. So I don't need anything from you because I have everything. But I'm still just me. And I don't want to be just me. So I need to have you too. So if I need someone like a wife, is that because I'm imperfect? See, if I was imperfect, I don't need a wife. I need a maid. Or if I'm emotionally insecure, I don't need a wife. I need a nurse, a caretaker. What is a wife? A wife means I don't need anything from you, but I don't want to be just me. So I need you to exist besides me. And what am I going to get from you? What's the difference? So if we're bothered by the problem, if the Eibishter is perfect, how can he need? The answer is, he doesn't need anything. That would be a contradiction to perfection. But to need someone, that is perfection. And the proof of it is this. If I need you to be my friend, and I don't need anything from you, and you disappear, what am I lacking?
You're lacking your friend.
I'm
And the simcha or the
I'm lacking-
emotional closeness that you have when you're with him.
So I'm lacking you. There's not an imperfection in me.
But it's not just that he wanted people, he wanted their actions, and that is a thing. In other words,
One thing at a time. So we have to come to the conclusion. Since the Eibishter is perfect, he doesn't need you to help him. He doesn't need you to give him something. He just needs you to be beside him. Because if you're not there, then you're missing. What does it mean he misses you? That doesn't mean there's something wrong with him. He's perfect, but you're not there. You see how beautiful this is? A wife or a husband is not there for a purpose. Trying to get something from each other. It's not a marriage. It's a business deal. I'll give you, you'll give me. I'll do the dishes on Thursday, you do the dishes on Monday. It's not marriage. Marriage means I'm not enough without you. Enough what? Nothing. Nothing. So what does the Eibishter need from us? Nothing. He just needs us to be in his world. That's why Afal Pi Shechata, Yisrael, to say the Eibishter doesn't need you when he's angry at you, not true. He needs you all the time. So what about all the mitzvahs? So now we get to a second subject. Every mitzvah is essential to him or not?
according to what you're saying, I mean, well, I mean, Derek Tachtonim, he needs it. I don't know how he needs it, why he needs it.
Okay, so if you don't use the word need, because it freaks people out, use the word essential. Is it essential to him that we keep Shabbos? Or is it debatable, negotiable, dispensable?
It's not essential.
Not essential.
Not essential. It's not essential.
Not.
And I'll prove it.
Yeah.
Some of us don't do it. if it was essential and some of us didn't do it,
without
this
getting,
place wouldn't.
without getting too esoteric, that proves how essential it is. He is not forced to want Shabbos, to need Shabbos, to be Shabbosdik. He chose it. Does that mean it's non-essential or more essential? So here's the big trap that people who learn a little bit fall into. If everything he does is voluntary, doesn't that prove that it's debatable, negotiable, and he chose it?
Yeah.
It means he could have chosen the other. That's not what Bechira means in Torah. Ata Bechartanu doesn't mean watch it because I could choose somebody else if you get on my nerves. Then it's not even a compliment. So far you're doing okay. Don't mess it up because I'll choose somebody else. What kind of narishkeit is this? Bechira by the Eibishter means because nothing affects me and nothing really matters except his desire, and his desire is to choose you. That shows how essential it is. That nothing could ever change that. There was no reason for the choice, so there's nothing that can destroy it. So the more free he was from any influence in his choice shows how essential that choice is. And that's reflected in the fact that I also don't have to keep Shabbos. And yet, I want to.
So what is the nakuda that we're getting wrong? That people who hear this and they're automatically, no, this doesn't sound right, doesn't feel right. What is the essential misunderstanding we have about Hashem?
I think we have an extreme swinging of the pendulum. Christianity, 2,000 years ago, came along and said, God is human. Of course, we don't believe that, so we went to the opposite extreme. There's nothing human about him. Because we went to the extreme, we haven't made him greater than the human, we've made him less. Because we're afraid to attribute any human. So Torah is full. Eibishter's anger, the Eibishter's pleasure, the Eibishter's mouth, the Eibishter's head, the Eibishter's desire, the Eibishter's anger. I said that already. None of that is real. So what we did, instead of making the Eibishter into a greater Eibishter, we made him less than human and completely irrelevant. He doesn't care, he's not affected, it doesn't. So what did we just do? We ended up without an Eibishter. All because you're trying to protect him from sounding human? So you ask a guy, does the Eibishter really get angry? No, that's human. Does the Eibishter really speak? No, that's human. Does the Eibishter really love? No, that's just human. Is the Eibishter really smart? Well, of course. Why? Why does he have to be smart? He's not human. Human beings are smart.
He's not smart.
He's not smart?
That's what the Arizal was trying to say.
I know, but most people, you say, is he smart? Of course he's smart. He's very smart. So why not? Does he love? Yes, very much. No, love is too human. We're so confused on this. And for most people, does the Eibishter love you? Not really. But does he get angry? Oh, yeah. What? So let's get it clear in our heads. Is he or is he not a mensch? He's certainly not less than a mensch. No? So a human being without love is a mensch. Love is a chesaron.
Right.
Love is a maila. If we have that maila, then he has it infinitely more. That's what we're learning in Tanya these days. That a human being loves another human being, and by the Eibishter it's bekifle kiflayim be'enarech more, but not less.
But if I can get technical for a second, if we're talking about today's the Tanya from this week, what he says is that the nefesh, which resides in the brain, does not have the particular powers of moving the fingers. It's irrelevant to that. It doesn't have those emotions or extensions.
But it also says, from last week's Tanya, since the Eibishter doesn't have an eye, he therefore sees better, not less. And because he doesn't have an ear, he hears everything, not less. So does the Eibishter really hear? Of course he really hears, because he doesn't have an ear. The ear restricts you. The eye is restricted. The Eibishter is not limited to a physical, so he sees better, he hears better, he knows better, and he cares better.
So if I can get technical now, why does the Alter Rebbe go out of his way when the Rambam says that Hashem is the knower and the knowledge and the known, and the Rizal says, can't say that, don't say that, and the Alter Rebbe says, don't worry, Rizal, he wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
He was talking about Tzimtzumim. He was talking about something else. He wasn't talking about Hashem.
Yeah. The issue there is a little bit off the topic. Nobody debates whether the Eibishter knows what's going on. Is that a debate? No.
I guess not, yeah.
Question is, can you call the Eibishter a chacham or a genius? The answer is, of course, not. Calling the Eibishter a chacham is like saying that Einstein was toilet trained. What do you say? So to say the Eibishter is a chacham, that's controversial. The answer is, in Seder Hishtalshelus, where chachma is a Eibishter, can be called a chacham. But above that, you don't call him a chacham. But because he's not a chacham, he knows more.
So you can say...
V'haraya, loy machshavei sai machshavei seichem. What does that mean? That the Eibishter has no machshava? He's saying, I have machshava, but not like yours.
So to transpose that to our discussion, so you can't say that Hashem is needy. You can't say that Hashem loves us, or you can't say that Hashem is a lover, that Atzmos is a lover, or you can't say that Atzmos is vulnerable. You can't say that Atzmos needs something. Well, you can. You can't.
And yet...
But you can say that Atzmos does have neediness, that Atzmos does want something, that Atzmos does love. You can't say that. You just cannot say. And I think that's probably... So that's where all of the confusion is.
So let's focus in on... The Eibishter wants something. You can't say that he needs that thing, because then the thing is dictating to him. The Eibishter wants whatever he wants. Nothing dictates. That's why it's called a taiva. A taiva means, I like it. What about it do I like? It's just me. That's called bechira chafshi. This is me, not it. So I want it, but it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with me. So it's very hard for a human being who rarely experiences this kind of desire or this kind of attachment. It's hard to imagine. What do you mean? You just want me. What do you want? Should I do this or that? No, I just want you. You want me what? No what. I just want you. It's hard for us to imagine. So the best example for this is the Alter Rebbe says, I don't want your Gan Eden, I don't want you. Nor dir alein. What does that mean? What do you want? You don't want anything from the Eibishter. Okay, so you don't want anything. No, ich will dir. So what do you want? And to bring it down to human, every marriage goes through this crisis. What do you want from me? Or women who say, you really caring about me? Yeah. I mean, about me? Sure, what do you want? No, you see, you just blew it. I'll give you anything you want. In other words, it's not about me. How do we get past all these things? How did Alter Rebbe do it? He doesn't want Gan Eden, in other words, he doesn't want the Eibishter to be smart. He doesn't want the Eibishter to be kind. He doesn't want the Eibishter to be generous. He doesn't want the Eibishter to be forgiving. He doesn't care about any of that. He just wants the Eibishter. So what does he want? What do you want? I don't want anything. You have to be there. That is so beautiful. And where's the imperfection? That makes him imperfect. So what are we learning in Tanya these days? The Eibishter gives up by restricting himself. He gives up by hiding himself. He is terribly uncomfortable and unhappy about sending a neshama down. He hates it. He hates the Yetzer Hara, which he regrets every day. He hates the Aveda, and he hates Golus, and he hates suffering, and he hates it when people are not happy. And therefore, that's Alter Rebbe saying, if he can give up all of that because he wants to be with you, then shouldn't you be able to give up your little... Now, so 1 second. Is all of that true about the Eibishter? It bothers him to have a tzimtzum? It bothers him. He's the Eibishter. So you just dismiss these prakim of Tanya as nonsense. The Eibishter doesn't give up anything. But it looks like he does. But you should give up for real. Come on. And then the whole thing is reciprocal love. The Eibishter loves you, so you love him back. In other words, he started it. He loves you first. For what? You haven't done anything yet. His Ava is going to stimulate your Ava, and then you'll do something good. So what is he loving? So how do you dismiss half of the Torah? None of it is true. It's all kaviyachol. And that's it. You just canceled everything.
So to close this up, how do you take this home to the bank? What is the point of this discussion, or this knowledge?
In very practical terms? I wake up one morning and I'm thinking, I really don't care. Not in the mood. So I have one of two approaches to inspire myself. I can either get angry at me. What do you mean? What's wrong with you? You low life, you chazer, you shegit. Just go on and on and on, beat myself up.
Why'd you go to bed so late?
And why don't you care? And how could you not care? And where is your neshama? What's the result going to be?
Snooze?
I'll get frustrated. And tomorrow I'll care even less. Because I don't need this hassle. Right? The other option is, I wake up in the morning and I say, I don't need this. True? So I don't feel like davening. So what do? Eibishter is in shul waiting for me. What am I going to do? Now, if he's waiting... So when the Navi says, in the name of the Eibishter, Loma bosi ve'enish, karosi ve'en eina. He doesn't really come and he doesn't really call and he doesn't really care. So what is he saying? Malach Gavriel. The Eibishter says, Loma bosi ve'enish. I'm waiting, you don't show up. Karosi ve'enena. I'm calling out to you. What? You don't even answer me? So that gives me a whole different set of tools to get around my laziness or my indifference or my stupidity without becoming angry and frustrated. And I think that's what the Rebbe meant when he said to this guy who wanted to have more fear of God. He said, you focus on love of God. The fear will come by itself.
Thank you very much.
I don't see. I really don't see how you can get around this. So if a person said, "But I really don't understand how we can need," okay, God is mysterious, but don't ignore the fact that He needs. You can't explain it. Don't explain it. But when people say, "I don't understand," does He or doesn't He? So I just go with doesn't. Well, if you have the option, go with does, because He says He does. And you have to dismiss that and say, no, it's not literal, it doesn't mean it. Yeah, He means it. How can it be? But that makes it even more powerful.
I think it's also very empowering as well. That forget you get up in the morning and you're having a bad day, but forget about that. That just knowing you're having a good day, but knowing that you have the power to do something that will change not the world or your life or your wife or your surroundings or make an impression. You maybe get a name in the newspaper if you're a little bit more successful. They'll know you in 1,000 years from now. You're going to do something which is for Hashem. It's just a different league. And that's just a massive amount of power. Maybe that's the point of all this.
There's a Rashi not long ago where the Torah says, Ani Hashem. Rashi says, why does He suddenly need to remind you who He is? So Rashi says, Ani Hashem, if you know who is telling you to do this, you'll be more careful. So it's who. If you leave out the who, all you know is what. What's kosher and what's treif and what, but there's no who behind it. Then you start cutting corners. If you know who, then you start fixing the corners.
Thank you very much.